Hello and welcome back to the Void Century podcast. Ed and Adam here today to bring you chapter 977 of One Piece entitled The Party's Off. So, first things first, we get into the cover story, and Lola and Chiffon have finally been reunited. After years, they are finally reunited and it feels so good. Ed, do you want to start with the chapter?
Yeah, so chapter starts off. There's giant tidal waves and whatnot in the awesome Japanese style like art painting. And we see Jinbei on the Always Sunny. So Luffy and the Straw Hats obviously all very excited. They're all hugging him. They're just really happy. They're saying it's a morale boost. And Jinbei is explaining how he had to first tend the wounds of the Sun Pirates, and then they also had like a big send-off, which I'm not sure what that implies, but yeah, they had a send-off. So Frankie calls for a toast, and Chopper and Nami explain how awesome Jinbei is, because when they were on Dressrosa, they saw that Jinbei can steer the boat really well.
Whole Cake Island.
Oh, sorry, on Whole Cake Island, sorry. And he was surfing on the waves with the Sunny, like it was just really cool. And Jinbei's just like, yeah, I'm really happy to be here with you guys. So Frankie calls for a toast, and Sanji explains that they don't have alcohol, but Zoro says that he can smell some alcohol. So we'll see if something happens with that. Kinemon then calls out to Luffy, saying that he wants to plan some strategy. Kinemon being on Law's ship right now, so he's not on the Always Sunny. And so we're skipping over to Law's ship now, and we see Law telling Kinemon it's a waste of time trying to plan with the Straw Hats. Like, they just don't listen. Shishilian, the captain of the Inuarashi Musketeers, arrives, and he wants to swear his minks under Kinemon's command, and he wants to know the plan so that he can fit in and kind of guide his minks. Then also Hyogoro chimes in saying that he also wants to know the plan and he will lead all the samurai. So yeah, they got some leaders joining and listening in on Kinemon's plan. So Kinemon starts to explain what's going on. First off, we got a map of Onigashima. And so we see that there's only one main entrance, which is the front gate. And then there's kind of like a ring of mountains surrounding the entire island. So that's why there's only one main entrance. And then from inside the entrance, there's that giant skull at the center. And that giant skull is kind of like a mountain in itself. And inside of that skull, there's the actual castle. So Kaido's castle is inside that giant skull. And then there's also a rear gate in the back of the castle. So Kinemon wants to plan to split the forces into two groups. And once they get into the front gate, they kind of can circle around both sides of the giant skull and go in through the rear gate. From there, they're going to surprise attack on Kaido and crew, who are all intoxicated from the feast. And that's his plan. So Denjiro hears that and he's like, okay, so that's probably the plan you told Kanjuro, so what's the real plan? And Kinemon's just like, wait, that is the real plan. He doesn't say that out loud, and Raizo quietly behind Kinemon, like kind of whispers saying, yeah, Denjiro really kind of overestimated you again, didn't he? And Kinemon just kind of looks shocked. She's got that like dumbfounded face again. It's just a really funny art style. So from behind, Law kind of goes ahead and explains what the real plan is. And he says, first things first, assume that the enemy is aware that the raid is going to happen. We know that the Beast Pirates have the following as their primary targets: the Red Scabbards, and then Luffy, Kidd, and Law. Also, another thing that they need to assume is no matter what plan they devise, Luffy and Kidd are guaranteed to charge right in. So because of that, they need to plan around that. So what they want to do is use Luffy and Kidd as diversions, split the fleets into two, just like originally planned, and they'll raid along both sides of the skull. That will also be a diversion. And Hyogoro, Shishilian understand where Law's getting at, saying that Kinemon's group needs to make it to the true decisive battle. So Law's like, yeah, so that's why I have my submarine ship, the Polar Tang, and there's whirlpools around Onigashima as well, but because they have a submarine, they can go underneath the whirlpools. And Law would then use his Ope Ope no Mi powers to help send the scabbards onto the island and Onigashima through the back. Kinemon likes that plan, but he says that he also wants to be the one leading the troops. So Denjiro kind of agrees with that, saying that there should be a scabbard leading along each of the two paths. So it looks like Denjiro and Kinemon will be the two leading each path. One will go on the left, one will go on the right. And then Ajuro Doji says then the rest of the scabbards will stay with Law then to fight against Kaido. So Kinemon is kind of making a guilty-looking, smiley, like, yes, so this is my plan. Yes, everything is going according to plan. And Denjiro kind of cheers Kinemon on, praising him, saying that he's got thorough plan-making abilities. And Raizo kind of looks on, like, a little bit judgy, and he knows that he's just kind of trying to look good in front of Denjiro.
And then all of a sudden, off in the distance, we see an explosion on Onigashima. Somebody's like, oh my god, did we just hear Luffy's voice? And we see, like, a cutout of Denjiro's face, and he's like, curses! I didn't tell the Straw Hats about the fortress at the front of Onigashima. Like, they're gonna be destroyed. The soldiers are having a party, it's a festival, everybody's drunk. If they learn that there's a raid on Onigashima, like, everybody's gonna know, everything's just gonna go completely out of control. And you see the scabbards, and they look shocked, and then they're like, Luffy, oh my god, we gotta stop Luffy. And then we see another explosion, and we see Kinemon's face, and he just looks super shocked. And then I guess we get what we've been waiting for since the Wano arc started, and we just basically get cutouts of everybody doing their thing. All the Straw Hats, including Jinbei, just beating the crap out of the Beast Pirates in front of Onigashima. We see, like, Luffy stomping on a guy, we see Jinbei punching somebody in the face. Of course, everybody's doing their thing. But I think the real highlight is that Oda made it a point that Usopp, Nami, and Chopper, the Wiki trio, are just sitting in the back and they're like, yeah, guys, you can do it. Go on, beat them up. You're doing a great job. And the rebels are just looking at all this happening and they're just like, what? And they get closer and they look at the front of the fortress. You see that there's just cannons and howitzers and artillery all pointed towards the sea. And there's like, oh my God. You know, if you guys didn't take this out, there's nothing that we could have done. They would have just roasted us on the sea. So Luffy stands up on like this cannon that's just been completely destroyed, and he's like, hey Kinemon, what's up guys? And we get like a cutout of the Straw Hats sitting around chilling out, and they're like, yeah, this was no big deal. And we see Zoro in the corner, and he's carrying like a bottle or like a barrel full of sake, and they're just like, wow, your nose must be really good. And I just think it's hilarious considering Zoro gets lost all the time, but he can find booze. Yeah, go figure. The Straw Hats prepare to make a toast to Jinbei, and, you know, Kinemon throws his katana up in the air once again and rallies the forces, and we see all the rebels come in and land on Onigashima. All of a sudden, Luffy's like, hey, you know, we're calling off the party, which is really out of character for Luffy. After all this time, this dude calls off a party, and basically he says, we can party after we defeat Big Mom and Kaido and Orochi and rescue Wano. Then we could welcome in Jinbei, and it's going to be the best party yet. And then we see like a close-up of Zoro's face and Frankie's face. Frankie, who suggested the idea of toasting Jinbei in the first place, is like, yeah, you're on. This is going to be the best party ever. And out of nowhere, we just get like a cutout of Kidd, out of all people, who's calling Luffy small fry in this moment. And he's like, hey, I'm going to get Kaido's head. I'm going to mount it on my ship's mast. Isn't that right, Killer? And we see Killer. He's still laughing up a storm. I guess the Kid Pirates have gone ahead and used Killer's laugh as kind of like a battle cry. So these lunatics are just going into battle going, fa, 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 like losers. So they're like, yeah, they made our Killer so cheery, we're going to mount Kaido's head on the front of our ship and we're going to sail around with it. And Luffy's like, oh, I'm not going to let Kid one-up me. So he's like, Jinbei, you know, race him. So all of a sudden we get like a drag race on the sea. And Jinbei's like, yeah, whatever, man, just leave this to me. And then, so we get a close-up of Onigashima. And it's actually pretty cool. It's a double-page spread. On one side, we see like Kaido in shadow with the rest of the Beast Pirates, and they're all drinking. And we see the shamisen playing, and Orochi trying to prey on some poor, unsuspecting woman. And then, you know, Queen's calling for more Oshiruko. There's this poor chef there, and he's like, hey, man, Big Mom wants me to make her some Oshiruko too. Please don't be so mean. I'm doing my best. And he's not having any of it. Kaido is already drunk as a skunk, and he's looking around for his son. Spoilers, I guess Kaido's got a son, which is crazy. Kaido's like, oh my god, my son should be here. It's a feast. Where is he? I'm gonna go look for him. And before you know it, we see one of Kaido's advisors is like, Master Kaido, the Flying Six have arrived. Shall I bring them in? And Kaido's like, oh yeah, bring them in. I want to introduce them to Lin Lin. Where has she gone? And then we get a panel, which is very much like Kaido's panel in Shadow, where we see a whole bunch of attendants. Thank God it's in Shadow helping Big Mom into her kimono. And then we get this panel on the bottom of all the feet of the Flying Six. And then the chapter ends. So, Flying Six introduced, Straw Hats taking out a fortress. I mean, there's a lot of fan service. It's an informational chapter. Kaido's got a son? What do you think about that one?
Awesome. So Kaido having a son, that's been theorized by fans already, and one of the theories is that it might be with Big Mom. So, like, her 3 strongest children. Like, you want to go over that?
Yeah, so her 3 strongest children are triplets. Obviously, Katakuri, Daifuku, and Oven. A lot of people think Katakuri takes after Kaido with, like, the fangs and, the hair. So, I think they obviously had a lot of time that they spent in the past together. They were part of Rock's crew. They're meeting up again. But I don't necessarily think, like, it's Big Mom's sons that he's looking for, because I think like the Big Mom crew is like partying anyways. I think maybe Kaido might have like his own son, so maybe like after Big Mom Kaido like went off and did his own thing, and maybe he has like another son.
Yeah, I'm with you there, actually. I think that he's talking about his own son. Like, we know that Big Mom and Kaido did have a relationship in the past, but yeah, I'm thinking that it might be his own son. Even if they do have children together, like, it seems like it's his son from outside of Big Mom. I'm wondering if we already know who this person is. Like, we might have been introduced to him. I'm wondering.
I'm thinking, but like, who would his son be? Like, so who would you think would be like a plausible option to be like Kaido's son if he's already been introduced? I mean, and it opens up like a completely different new can of worms, because like, what's his devil fruit power? How old is he? Like, is he even old enough to fight? Maybe he's like a 3-year-old or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking like maybe it's one of his all-stars, one of his Flying Six, or one of his other headliners.
No. The way I see it, alright, so Kaido's got like this whole army, right? Kaido's like this big badass guy. I would love it if the trope is like Kaido's son just like doesn't like his dad. He's like not a fighter. Maybe he wants to be like an entertainer. Maybe he's like a theater major, like wants to work in the theater. And he's like, my dad will never understand me. I don't want to fight. I just want to act.
Yeah, I mean, that would be funny, yeah.
Maybe his son's like actually playing video games right now. Like, you don't know. Maybe he's self-quarantining.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at designs of characters that have already been revealed in the Beast Pirates. And one that kind of looks like Kaido a little bit is Babanuki, and he's the gifter who had the elephant. And it's just kind of more of like a physical resemblance. It's not the best resemblance, and obviously this guy's got an elephant on his chest, but
Babanuki got wrecked to the extreme. Like, Luffy...
Yeah, and that's another thing, yeah.
Yeah, no. Hold on, that was the guy that shot, like, the poison balls from, like, his elephant cannon, right? And Luffy shoved it back in his trunk?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that guy's dead, pretty much. But... no, I totally don't think that's Kaido's son at all. I would definitely think that Kaido's son would have to be strong, not a gifter. Like, he's worthy of, like, a clean devil fruit.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, like, just physical resemblance, and they have a physical resemblance. But I agree, he's too weak to actually be Kaido's son. And I don't really see, at least on the Wikipedia for Kaido, or for the Beast Pirates, I don't really see anyone else who looks like Kaido. That's the only one that actually resembles Kaido. We don't really know what King looks like, or Jack really, underneath like their masks. But King, I think, can be most likely ruled out. Page 1, maybe. We haven't really seen what he looks like outside of his like hybrid form. So yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure we saw page 1, but I'd like to think that it's somebody that we haven't seen yet. And I think if Kaido has a son, like, the whole world would know about it. Like, Big Mom's kids all have bounties. Like, it would have gotten around that Kaido has a son. I like the trope of Kaido's son just like not wanting to do anything with Kaido, and maybe his his son would become pivotal to like them actually taking down Kaido and his crew. Maybe Luffy and the rebels can kind of recruit Kaido's son because he's like the black sheep of the family. Your thoughts?
I don't think that's going to happen. It doesn't really seem very likely at this point, just because I don't know. I feel like it's just too like well, we don't really know. There's not enough information. I feel like it's just too convenient plot wise for that to happen. So it would just kind of be like it would cheapen the story a little. I feel like. Early on, we already have kind of a rivalry between Queen and Big Mom, both looking for Oshiruko. And both Queen and Big Mom are pretty big. So I'm guessing that Queen also has hunger pangs, kind of like Big Mom. Maybe not to that extent, but I bet that he gets hangry. What do you think?
I think dude just likes to keep it funky, but probably. I honestly hope Oda doesn't reuse the trope of the hunger pangs again. I mean, it would be cool, but I mean, she's already been hunger panging for Oshiruko. I mean, there's got to be something else. I think that the whole Oshiruko thing is like a callback to like the tension between the Big Mom pirates and the Beast pirates right now. Like, they're both very strong-willed. They're not going to get along with each other too well. And I think it's just showing like the seeds of discontent from like the onset, you know? So something that's just going to build and build and build until eventually they have like a big falling out, which leads to, you know, their defeat.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. I think that there's going to be kind of like a discord between Big Mom and Queen that will kind of set up for just further discord and kind of like a fissure in the alliance between Big Mom's crew and Beast Pirates. So yeah, I think that this is just kind of like setting up for that. There's a reason why Big Mom and Kaido aren't allied anymore. Like they used to be. They used to be on the same crew. They used to be in a relationship. I'm thinking romantic relationship. And then they're separated. So I think that they just have too large of personalities. They're both too used to getting things their own way that they can't be around each other for too long. So they probably like each other, but they probably also can't stand each other at the same time, and they're going to remember why they can't stand each other soon.
I think it's really because they respect each other's powers. Think about it though, both of their crews, like Big Mom's is very Paramecia heavy, Kaido's is pretty much all zones, right? So maybe they feel like Big Mom's all like, well, Paramecias are superior, Kaido's all like, I'll show you the power of the zone, right? So they're two very big personalities, and I feel like they respect each other's strengths, but in terms of each other's personalities, definitely not.
Yeah, but on the other hand, because they kind of have a different way of going about things, that's kind of nice because that means they won't be stepping on each other's toes when they're collecting devil fruits. So that kind of works out in their alliance's favor. But I mean, I agree with you. It like what you're saying, it does show what they value and how they value things differently. So yeah.
I mean, there could only be one Pirate King, at least in my head canon right now. So Big Mom wants to be Pirate King. Kaido wants to be Pirate King, obviously. They both have, you know, separate dreams. Kaido wants to build the biggest army. Big Mom wants to create a land for all races.
Wait, have they publicly said that they wanted to be Pirate King?
Yeah, Big Mom wants to be Pirate King. That's why she's got a road poneglyph.
But what about Kaido?
I mean, ultimately, the goal of the Yonko is to be the Pirate King.
I don't think so, because Whitebeard never wanted to be Pirate King. He knew exactly how to get to Laugh-Tail if he wanted to.
Yeah, but again, there's outliers. Like Shanks could be Pirate King. He knows where Raftel is. He's a Yonko.
Does he?
Yeah, like they were there, they just never landed on it.
I thought that he sat out.
He knows the location.
Oh, I thought that they went to like some island to get treated. I thought that they sat out completely. I could be wrong, but I thought that they weren't on the boat when the Roger Pirates went to Laugh-Tail.
No, like he stayed back with Buggy. They never physically landed on Laugh-Tail, but they know where it is.
I see.
But the point I was trying to make about Kaido and Big Mom. So Kaido values Logias. Big Mom values Paramecias. At least in my headcanon, I'd like to think that Kaido and his crew are like all about drinking, and Big Mom and her family are all about like eating, you know? So, you know, the Beast Pirates are like, drink with us, and they're like, no, eat with us. And then right there, they immediately don't like each other.
That'd be funny. I think that they're gonna be allied for at least a bit. Like there's gonna be fighting to get, like they're gonna fight on the same side for at least a little bit, because otherwise it's just like a bunch of build up with no payoff.
That's why I'd like to think that the attack's going to be a failure. So we know that other people are going to show up at this point. We know that there's going to be more backstabs. What I like to think is, so this initial incursion of like the rebels, so they're going to face Kaido and Big Mom together and they're going to lose, right? And then the discourse between Kaido and Big Mom happens, and then they fight them again, individually, and they win.
Yeah, you might be right, but I personally just want this to be over with. To be honest, like this has been a really long arc already. I think that we don't need 2 battles. I think that 1 battle is enough, because if we get into the point where there's like 2 battles, I think that it's just going to drag on too long.
I think it's a way for Oda to consolidate this story, really. So the way the Kabuki play goes, so they're going to fight, and it's going to be like long and grueling, and then the ultimate Act 4, the climax, is a swift remediation. So it's very fast paced.
No, I thought that was Act 5. That's the swift remediation.
Here, look it up. A great moment of drama or tragedy in the 3rd act, possibly a battle in the 2nd or 4th. The final act is almost always short, providing a quick and satisfying conclusion.
Yep. So the final act is the short, swift remediation. The 4th act can still be long.
Yeah. So again, they're going to have a battle. They're going to lose.
Okay, so what I think is going to happen from a Kabuki theater standpoint is, in this act, they're going to start the battle and it's going to feel like they're losing, and the act is going to end. So like something tragic happens, like maybe, I don't know what that could be, but there's something, like they're going to be basically feeling like hopeless and about to lose, and then Act 4 is going to happen, and I think that we're going to get reinforcements. Maybe Izo, whoever Nekomamushi brings back is going to be the Act 4 savior kind of deal. So maybe the Whitebeard pirates, maybe the Marines, maybe CP0, maybe Sword, who knows? But somebody's gonna come in, remediate it, come in to save the day, and they're gonna like have that battle, the 4th act battle, and then they're gonna win. And then Act 5, the remediation, that part is gonna be like the celebration, the cheers, the toast, the promoting Momo to leader of Wano, all that jazz. But it's gonna be really quick for Act 5.
So the tragedy hasn't occurred yet, but you also got to keep in scope like the actual scale of it. It's just not one person dying that's going to be the tragedy.
I believe that the tragedy might have already happened. I'm not sure, because like Odin dying could have been the tragedy. But yeah, I think that I do think that they're going to have like a hopelessness by the end of Act 3. I think that they're going to feel hopeless and like they're going to lose. And then Act 4 begins with the savior.
But we're in Act 3. Like we're in the battle already. The tragedy has yet to occur. So what we just read, they're like, okay, battle in Acts 2 and 4, but we're currently in 3 and the battle's starting.
Okay, then yeah, so maybe just positioning wise, like maybe the battle hasn't started technically. Well, I guess it has, because Luffy just beat up some guards, but I don't consider that the real battle. So that like them taking out that defense mini island this chapter, I don't really consider that the battle yet. I think that maybe they're gonna like start the raid and it gets canceled somehow. I think it's gonna go well for a bit and they're gonna feel really good, and then somehow something happens, maybe the Flying Six intercede and everything feels hopeless, and then that's how Act 3 will end.
Then what role do the Big Mom pirates play? Like, I think you're just looking too small in the actual scope. Like, it's like 10,000 versus 10,000 right now. So like 6 guys showing up to fight like 10,000 on top of like the Straw Hat Law and Kids crew. Like, the Flying Six aren't going to be enough for them. So like, that's not tragedy.
I think that like the numbers don't matter as much. Not the numbers, but the actual amount of people don't matter as much, just because Conqueror's Hockey is a thing.
I'm just saying the scope. So like 6 people showing up that could be easily defeated doesn't constitute as a tragedy when it's, 2 Yonkos fighting, 3 supernovas. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like, if it's a tragedy, if it's a turning point for the whole arc, then it's got to be something big.
Yeah, I agree with you. We just don't know what it's going to be. That's why I'm being intentionally vague.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying, so
I'm just saying that the six people coming could change the tides in one way or another. Like, I'm just trying to throw out ideas as to what could be changing the tides. I'm not saying that they're going to be the ones to change the tides. There's just going to be something that changes the tides. We don't know. It hasn't been revealed yet.
again, I get that. The one thing I'm just trying to convey, which got us on this whole thing in the first place, that if they lost, that would be a great tragedy, and that would be a good end for the act. We still have to, have Orochi being defeated. There's still a whole bunch of people who are supposed to show up who haven't shown up yet. Okay, cool. Then we can move on to the next one. Do you think Big Mom being on Onigashima and, being with Kaido and the Big Mom Pirates now, do you think that they've done anything to set up? Do you think she set up any kind of intelligence network with her homies or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's definitely possible because that's her ability. But we haven't seen any homies. So like the only one we've seen is Zeus. I don't think we've seen any other on the island since other than Zeus, right?
Yeah, I don't even think she had Napoleon with her when she came to the island. I don't remember though. We'd have to go back. But even like Zeus is there, but Zeus isn't controlled by her currently.
Right. Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Napoleon's with her. I think that she might have lost it when she kind of forgot who she was when she was Olin.
Yeah, it's because she fell in the water, remember?
Yeah. Right.
So she fell in the water, and I think she lost Prometheus and Napoleon, and then she washed upon shore. So maybe she might get like reunited with them again. Has she been reunited with her crew yet?
I don't think so. I don't see anybody. I haven't seen anyone from Big Mom's crew.
Oh, so that might be a problem. So what if Big Mom's crew is going to land at like the rear entrance? Because it's like the service entrance,
Yeah, that's possible. That would really throw a wrench in things. Yeah.
There you go. So we haven't seen them yet. And it's crazy because again, that might like sow some of the reservations. So what if like the Big Mom pirates show up and they're like, "What the hell are you doing here, Mom? Like, what is this place? Like, why are these people so weird? No, we don't want to ally with them," kind of thing.
Yeah. To answer the first question, I don't think that it's likely that she has homies set up just because we haven't seen any evidence of them. Also, she's just really single-minded in general. So like right now her focus is to celebrate her partying with Kaido. Yeah, so I think that that's really her focus. I don't think that she's really planning ahead or anything like that in terms of with homies at least. I understand that that's really her primary ability, but she can always just kind of suck people's souls out and, create homies on the fly when she needs to.
Yeah, but there's always that caveat that the people have to be intimidated by her. It won't work on smile users again because they can only laugh, they can't express emotion, they can't be intimidated. So maybe that'll throw a whole wrench in the works too.
Oh, true. That's a good point. I think that, yeah, that's true because like I bet a lot of the samurai that's in the Red Scabbards forces, I bet a lot of them have eaten smiles and are failed smile users too, don't you think?
At least the one from like the Kibi region, I'm sure there's lots of people like that.
Yeah.
So if they have the effect of the smile fruits, then they can't be fearful of Big Mom. I think the rest of the forces too would just be too galvanized. This is something we've waited 20 years for. No, we're not afraid of a Yonko. We'll crush you.
So now I kind of want to move on to the Flying Six. So we see the feet of all six of the Flying Six. And if you guys don't remember, we already were introduced to two of the Flying Six earlier in Wano, I believe in the first act. But yeah, so two of the Flying Six are X-Drake and Page One, and they're both dinosaur devil fruits, so I guess mythical or ancient Zoan users. Sorry, ancient Zoan. So X-Drake is an Allosaurus, and Page One is a Spinosaurus. Who else could be in the Flying Six? Have we seen them? I don't think we've seen all of them. But like one of them I was thinking is possibly Basil Hawkins, but then I'm just like, no, he doesn't have an ancient Zoan and it's nothing like beast themed at all, so he doesn't really fit. But yeah, who do you think, what do you think about the Flying Six? Possible people in it and whatnot?
I mean, I don't know. The only thing I really noticed by looking at their feet is there's like a lady member of the Flying Six. So that's cool. I know we were talking earlier, you told me you thought it could have been Jin Rummy. But I think looking at her outfit again, she's got the horns on her head, so she's a gifter,
Oh, true, yeah.
So they're all pure legendary zones. So there is a Lady Flying Six member. Hooray for the fans out there. So I can't really speculate too much on who I think it is because we just haven't seen so many ancient zones. We just don't know who's got a dinosaur fruit pretty much. But I am interested in seeing some cool dinos in One Piece. Do you have any favorite dinosaurs you want people to transform into? I know there's a lot of people who think that King is like a pterodon.
Yeah, like a pterodactyl.
That would be dope, yeah.
And then Queen is a brachiosaurus, and Jack is a mammoth. So those are the three, I guess, all stars. Yeah, I'm thinking that the Flying Six are gonna be dinosaurs, basically. So like, maybe one could be like, I mean, maybe not dinosaur necessarily, but like Ice Age stuff too, because like mammoth isn't a dinosaur. So another one that's in that realm would be maybe like a saber-toothed tiger is kind of similar.
That would be cool.
And another one could be like a triceratops is like a very popular one.
Stegosaurus?
Yeah, stegosaurus would be popular too.
I think they have to be no, because those are both herbivorous dinosaurs. They're vegetarians. You need carnivores.
Yeah, you know what? We've only seen carnivores so far, so that's possible. You're possibly right. Yeah.
Well, remember Rob Lucci commented on carnivorous zones, so obviously the Beast Pirates would know about the advantages of the bloodlust of the carnivorous zones.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So I would like to imagine there's got to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex, right?
Okay, wait. Queen is not a carnivorous zone. Queen is a brachiosaurus, which is an herbivore.
I totally understand that, but he's not a member of the Flying Six.
Yeah, but he's higher than the Flying Six, so it's.
I totally understand that, but Jack is also herbivorous as well.
Exactly. So we just don't have enough info to say that the Flying Six will definitely be carnivores.
I just want to speculate on carnivorous dinosaurs too, man.
That's fine. We can do both. I don't want to limit to just carnivores is all I'm saying.
Leopleurodons are also cool. I would love to see just like flippers. Long neck, spiny teeth, like Nessie in One Piece.
Another one could be like crocodiles are basically, there was an ancient crocodile as well that kind of evolved into the modern crocodile.
But it was like 10 times the size of current day crocodiles.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be an interesting one. That would be a carnivore.
Well,
and also aquatic.
Even so, saltwater crocodiles can grow up to be like 25 feet, right? So just imagine something that's like 3 times the size of that. Imagine a crocodile that's like 60, 70 feet long. Oh my god, nightmares.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like ancient dinosaurs or ancient animals like back then that didn't have a limit as to how big they could grow. It was mostly just based off of the environment. But genetically, they could grow as large as they wanted.
I think that's because there was more oxygen in the air that allowed the plants to grow bigger so they could eat, more nutrients and just grow as big as they wanted to.
I mean, even today, there are animals like that. I believe goldfish is an animal where, depending on the size of the environment, they can get really large. And I want to say koi are too.
I mean, they're technically the same fish. They're just carp, right? Goldfish are just small ones. Koi are just large ones.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, actually, koi, again, they're believed to be dragons. So maybe we could see a
like
koi.
Pokemon Magikarp.
Yeah, maybe we could see a koi fish. Maybe we could see Gyarados in One Piece.
Oh, that would be dope, actually. Well, I mean, Gyarados is a dragon, so that would be Kaido, basically.
But a sea dragon? That's one thing that we haven't seen a lot of. We haven't seen any aquatic zones, to my knowledge. Have we? Have we seen any aquatic zones?
Well, are there even aquatic devil fruits? Because doesn't seawater prevent you from being able to use your abilities and incapacitate you?
They do, but again, it could be like Jinbei. I mean, I don't think it just takes away your ability to swim, so you could still manipulate water. I mean, you could still be an animal like a crocodile who can both survive on land and in the water. What about like a catfish? I want to see just a catfish devil fruit. Gifter, maybe?
Wait, what about Jinbei?
He fights by manipulating water, and manipulating the air currents.
But he doesn't use a devil fruit.
No, I understand that. I'm not saying Jinbei uses a devil fruit. What I'm saying is they could utilize a similar fighting technique to Fishman Karate and manipulate the water without being in it.
Yeah. We just haven't seen any To my knowledge, we just haven't seen any water-based devil fruits. Now that you mentioned it earlier, I'm trying to think of any. I can't think of any.
No, I don't think we have. There are animals that are hybrid aquatic that, could both survive in land and on sea. Amphibious. There you go. That's the word. I mean, I'd like to see a nasty bullfrog devil fruit.
Yeah, I think that the closest to that we've seen are fishmen. I think that's the closest to like amphibious beings just in general. So like, yeah, that's just kind of interesting to think of. But it also makes sense because you can't use your devil fruit power in water. So it's like, how can you have a water-based devil fruit?
No, I understand. But Jack was a fishman with a devil fruit, and he was just able to survive underwater. He got so lucky.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if Conjuro helped out there in hindsight.
Now that you mention it, maybe. Conjuro could have just drawn like a beacon in the air. Because remember, Zoe's always moving. So the Vivre card, do they have a Vivre card of Jack? I would imagine so, right? But it would take a while to get to him. So maybe Conjuro helped him out. Again, there's some other people speculating, in hindsight of like birds being in certain places at certain key events in One Piece. And for the revolutionaries, it's Karazu. So the guy that controls the crows. But maybe recently after Dressrosa, some of those crows were Conjuro. Spreading information or sending signals to people.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very plausible. Conjuro, man, he's messing everything up.
I mean, he has been messing everything up. So what do you think's going to happen? So we know, like, Orochi's drunk right now, and Conjuro is on his way to take Momo to go see Orochi, right, and let everybody know that the raid's coming. So what do you think's going to happen to Momo? Do you think they're just going to throw him in the dungeon?
I am not sure, honestly. I think that they're gonna have someone guarding him for sure. Momo, we as an audience know that Momo has the dragon ability. I don't know. Well, actually, no, because Conjuro knows, the Beast Pirates must know that Momo can turn into a dragon as well. So I wonder if Kaido is going to be like, yo, let me see it.
No, I think originally when they were on Punk Hazard, it was stated that Kaido was looking for Momo because of his dragon fruit. Because he wanted to see it. I think that's what it was.
Oh. So that's probably what's going to happen is he's going to be presented to Kaido and he's going to probably want to see it.
Oh my god. All right, how about this? So what if Momo is given an audience with Kaido at the moment Kaido is with his son? And he's like, my dad doesn't love me. And then all of a sudden he's like, this kid shows up and he's got a dragon fruit just like my dad. Like, oh my god, I hate this kid.
I mean, I'm still not convinced that Kaido's son is going to be disliking his father. Like, I'm not convinced that that's the case yet.
Me neither, but what if Kaido's son and Momo are like the same age? What if they become friends and Momo's son like helps him escape?
Yeah, I don't know what to expect with Kaido's son until the next chapter, most likely. We just haven't seen him. We have no idea. Like, it's possible we've seen him and we just weren't introduced to him as Kaido's son. But yeah, we have no idea who it might be.
What if Jack is Kaido's son?
Yeah, I think that that's a possibility. I think that that's a candidate as well. But Jack is also a fishman, so that means that
he's got a fish mom. We don't know. I mean, but Kaido's son just throws like a whole wrench in the works, Like, this is just completely out of left field. Nobody in the fandom expected this. So now all we can do is just sit around and speculate over who is he, what he's like, what his fruit is. What kind of devil fruit do you think he has? Mythical zone?
Yeah, I would guess it'd be an ancient zone or mythical zone.
What's the next mythical zone you would like to see? So we've got the Phoenix, we got the Dragon, we got the Buddha. Do you think we're going to see a spooky one? So like a myth? Let's see. What if there's actually a Kappa devil fruit out there?
There's a what devil fruit?
What if there's a Kappa devil fruit out there?
Oh, like a fish, like the
Kawamatsu is.
Yeah, that's possible. I wouldn't consider it mythical though.
I mean, but they are mythical creatures. Kappas don't really exist, right?
Yeah, I'm not really too familiar.
I would like to see a Tanuki devil fruit too, even though Chopper is the embodiment of a Tanuki. So, how do you think Luffy and Kidd are going to mess up Kinemon's plans? So, how do you think Kidd and Luffy's rivalry is going to develop? Because I thought it was interesting that Kidd noted that Kaido feeding Killer a devil fruit, a smile fruit, having it fail and making him laugh all the time, has turned him into, or his crew into one of those quote-unquote cheerful pirate crews. No, but think about it. Think of the context and the nuance that could be behind it. So last episode we discussed like the chaotic D's and the good D's, right? So maybe this is something that's going to draw Kid a little bit closer to the good D's, being a chaotic D himself.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that I personally am really enjoying the fact that the Kid Pirates are laughing now. I think it's just kind of heartwarming. Like, this guy basically never really liked to show emotion in the past is completely changed. So in solidarity, they're laughing with him and they're turning it into their kind of like cruise thing, is laughing like Killer. So I think that it's kind of heartwarming. I really liked seeing that from them. Yeah, I kind of just like Killer more this way. More like laughing. Like, I know that like it's torturous for him to laugh, but it just makes him more
human
almost. Well, that too, human too, but also more devious because he's always laughing. So it's like, imagine this like guy with like really good sword skills just approaching you, laughing his ass off like this. Like, it would just be really scary and intimidating.
Yeah, I think his epithet's the killing machine or like the spinning machine of death or something. So totally chaotic. Yeah, I would have to agree with you. So do you think he's going to get better? I think at the end of the arc, I think Chopper's going to find a way to cure him.
I hope not. I like him like this.
But so again, we're seeing that as Kid is spending more time with Luffy, he's becoming more like Luffy. Think about it. That's like one of Luffy's greatest strengths that have been touched on a million times. Luffy's got this power to draw people over to his side and turn his enemies into his friends, right?
Yeah, it's very true, but playing devil's advocate a little, we don't really know how Kid acts because we just don't see him too much up until this arc. Like, this is the most we've seen Kid at all in all of One Piece.
Oh, most definitely. But all these changes are happening. He went from a place where he would never ally with Luffy outside of the fight at the auction house to save his own skin, to now informally allying with Luffy to take out somebody that wronged his crew. But they both want the same thing. Regardless, they're going to, say they don't need each other's help, but in the final battle, they're going to fight side by side.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's good character development that we're getting from Kid. I feel like, so Kid, as he's structured in the story, has been like this hard-ass tough guy, no feelings. And we see that as we're learning about him more, I think Oda's just trying to illustrate that he is changing. So he's changing because his influence with Luffy.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right, though. He definitely is changing. We don't know exactly how he was before, but he's definitely, he's already from the beginning of this arc, he's already a little different.
Think about how many supernovas we have in this arc, too. Think of how many supernovas are at 102. I think the big driving factor, at least in the story right now, is kind of a turning point where Luffy's going to gain a lot more support from the supernovas and other big names in the One Piece world that are going to assist him to become the Pirate King. Kid being one of them. Law's already one of them. There's plenty, Jinbei, there's plenty of real big names that are supporting the Straw Hats and Luffy's rise to become the Pirate King.
Yeah, and there's also Hawkins here, X-Drake is here.
Apu's here?
Apu's here. I forgot about that. Yeah. So there's like a lot of the worst generation here. I think a lot's gonna go down.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, Wano is another one of the arcs where Luffy's gonna gain more support from big names in the One Piece world. Like Kid, his biggest rival, is gonna start to support him. So from there on, I think you're correct in stating at that moment Luffy is going to be Yonko status, and then we finally hit Endgame where Luffy's collecting the rest of the road poneglyphs on his way to Laugh Tale, and we're, buttoning up the series.
Yeah, he's definitely, he already technically is Yonko status, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, so we have to get to a point in the story where Luffy's not fighting people anymore because the majority of the strong people that Luffy would have fought are currently supporting him because of things that he's done in the past. So I honestly think the next arc's going to be Elbaf, and I think it's going to be more of a chill arc, kind of the calm before the storm. I think we're going to, again, like with the starting of Wano, we're going to like with the flashes to the reverie, I think we're also going to have flashes of what happened after the reverie while Luffy's on Elbaf, because Luffy still hasn't figured out what's happened to Sabo, right? So we still don't know what's going on with the revolutionaries and the raid on Mary Joie, because those, I believe, are going to set up the final pieces for the end game. You know, Luffy finding Laugh-Tale and literally having to fight the world government. Think about it too. Luffy's gonna need all the supernovas and all these strong people backing him when he takes down the world government.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's still gonna have to meet up with his dad, because we know that the Straw Hats, their end game is gonna be to take down the world government, and Luffy's dad right now is the one that's been waging war on them, you know, his whole life. So they're gonna have to meet up after Luffy becomes a great pirate, or even before that.
Yeah, I mean, we already kind of know how that's going to start, and it's going to be them allying together to help save Sabo, because that is kind of like a common person that they both really care for, and he's captured right now. So that's how they're going to ally, I believe, is to save Sabo.
I get that, but Luffy's never met his father. Like, Luffy's never had a conversation with his dad. The only contact he's ever had with his father, besides what we know, is when his dad saved him at Logtown. So there's going to have to be that communication there. I can't be like, hey son, I know I went out for a pack of cigarettes and we haven't talked for 20 years, but so your friend's in trouble, can you ally with me to save him? There's got to be like that discourse there where Dragon's like, Luffy, I'm your father, like, let's have a chat so I can tell you about your mother and why I wasn't around for your whole life.
I don't know if that discourse will ever happen. Regardless, I think that Sabo is going to be the one that kind of gets them to work together.
Yeah, and I actually believe that's got a lot of credence. I support that. I think that has been something that's set up so that Luffy and Dragon could work together. But I would like to see the discourse between Luffy and his dad. I'd at least to know what the deal with Luffy's mom is. You know, we've never seen her in the story.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah, totally. Even if it's a situation like Ace's mom, where she died, you know, at least we get to know a little bit about who she was and whether or not she was a holder of the D, because she's the only one, Portgas de Rouge, that's a female that was a holder of the D.
How many moms do we know about in the series?
I mean, we know Nami's mom, Belmere. Frankie's an orphan.
Wait, was that her real mom, though?
I don't think so. I think it was her adoptive mother.
Yeah, so we don't know about her mom. We don't know about anyone's mom in this series.
We know about Big Mom's kids.
We know about Big Mom.
There's at least 47 characters whose parents, or who we know the mother of. There you go.
I'm just saying, like, this series doesn't really do moms, so don't get excited about Luffy's mom reveal.
I understand. I get that. But I believe that the mother of the main character of this story would be an important figure, okay? I can even live with not knowing about Garp's woman. So that's the thing too. I would love to see the falling out between Garp and his son. What drove Dragon to become a revolutionary?
Probably just seeing how the world is unfair and not being able, like, you know how Garp was able to kind of turn a blind eye when things didn't go the way that he wanted it to go, but like Garp's response isn't to quit the Marines, he just turns down the promotion. And I think that Dragon, in that same situation, he would have quit the Marines and fought against them.
I think, so here's what I'd like to imagine. Yeah, so Garp is a really carefree guy and doesn't really care what the world government has to say. So at least before taking care of Ace, Garp had Dragon, right? So Dragon was already out of the picture by the time Garp was taking care of Ace, right? So I would like to imagine that Garp, being so wishy-washy, just raised Dragon like however, like him, right? And Garp still didn't know the issues with the world government and the Celestial Dragons. Sure, there was some bad stuff, but ultimately he was like a huge supporter of them. Right? Huge supporter of whatever they said, kind of absolute justice. But as time went on, and as Dragon was growing up, Dragon was taught to like do his own thing, and Garp was getting frustrated with like the Marines and the direction, and he let it show, and then Dragon was shown more of what was actually going on in the world. So it only led him more to go astray. I think that's why Garp is so dead set on Ace and Luffy being Marines, right? Because he doesn't want to make the same mistakes he made with his son.
Oh, so do you think that Dragon was a Marine?
Most definitely. I think Dragon growing up, seeing Garp and seeing how he was beloved by the Marines, wanted to be a Marine too. But I think once they got in there, I think maybe they had a falling out with the power structure of the Marines as well, and that's why they don't speak. So Garp obviously would rank higher than his son, right? And maybe he was put in a position by Dragon's, carefree, lackadaisical duties that got Garp in trouble, and Garp had to hit him with a banhammer. So I think maybe they had a huge falling out, and Dragon was like, you know what, screw it, I don't need this anyway. This organization you support's corrupt, right? And from then on, they just haven't spoken. Except that would have to change after Dragon has Luffy. There would have to be an event or a conversation in which Dragon drops Luffy off and says, hey, this is my son, take care of him. There's still so much we don't know about the whole monkey dynamic, the Monkey D family.
Yeah, we really don't know that much at all.
But these are all things that still have to be buttoned up in the story. This is still discourse that the fandom's waiting to see for years. We've seen Luffy's relationship with his grandfather. We haven't seen Luffy's relationship with his father or his grandfather's relationship with his son. And you could say that obviously Garp and Dragon are side characters, but they still play massive importance in the story, and they're relatives of the main character. And I believe that one of them is going to die before Luffy can become Pirate King, or before the story's even over.
Yeah, I could see one or both of them dying.
But in order, that stuff still has to be fleshed out, Oda's not lazy. He's going to go ahead and write it in. So I'm just interested in speculating the relationships between them and what caused these things to happen to end up in the current state. I do love Garp, though. I would hate to see him die. I would love to see Garp go all out just once, though. So that's pretty much all I got today. I mean, I still want to see a whole bunch of stuff with Garp and the Monkey D family, but I guess we'll have to save that for another time. This has been the Void Century Podcast. If you like what you heard, please check us out on Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, we're everywhere. Email us at thevoidcenturypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for sailing with us. Bye.
Bye, guys.